the impact Burkina Faso have made. And we are sitting here and we were talking nonsensical madness against that. He's a coup maker. He took gun and came to power. Those of you who have not taken gun, what have you been able to achieve?
Politics and Christianity go hand in hand. And because our pastors, our preachers need to condemn things that are happening in politics, they need to call out the leaders. But recently, I've seen a lot of pastors, mostly in Kenya, they associate themselves with, with the politics, with the politicians. Politicians came, they give them small amount of money, they bribe them, and they does not say anything against the government. But there is this pastor, I think he's from Ghana. He talked something, or he said something about Ibrahim Traore. It's not something that I've seen a lot of pastors saying about it or talking about it. But this preacher said something about Ibrahim Traore and everyone was shocked. As a pastor, you need to talk about the government, about the leader who is in power. You need to condemn the atrocities that's happening regarding to what the Bible says. You align it with the Bible. So it has to go hand in hand. But instead, you are seeing something bad that's happening, but you are not saying anything simply because you yourself, you have been put in the pocket by politics masters. I want you to watch this video of these pastors, this Ghanaian pastor talking about Ibrahim Traore, and then we come and talk about it.
The impact Burkina Faso have made. And we are sitting here and we were talking nonsensical madness against that. He's a coup maker. He took gun and came to power. Those of you who have not taken gun, what have you been able to achieve? A month ago, this young man commissioned a tomato factory, $12 million. You people said you were building a dam with $12 million. Where is the dam? Where is your dam? This young man is a sensible human being. Sensible human being. And he is working. The people feel he is some kind of an idol. The work where on my uniska obekum onem obebo wutiri mutu. He will shoot you in the head. Try and chop money in the government of this young man. Yeah. And we allow somebody with a gun to come close to our president. Soldier for the police for an independence square. You are too much hypocritical people. Hey, young man, Kosuya Wajuma. Continue your work. A young man can build tomato factory, build schools. He has shut his doors. Someone say ECOWAS. I didn't care about your ECOWAS. Now look at a leader comes and invites this young man. He's seeing that this young man too fast. I haven't said. I am only pointing my head. Sorry, Apple. Sorry.
Welcome back. Now, that is Ghanaian pastor. He talked about how Ibrahim Traore is doing good, He talked about how Ibrahim Traore actualized the project that he said he will do. He fulfill the promise. But a lot of politicians, they don't do what they usually say. And that's the thing we need pastors to say. A real pastor is he who call out. When the government is doing good, it's okay. Say that this government is doing good on this, but on this side, it is doing bad. You need to change, because the work of the pastor is not to align with the evil, but to call out the evil that's happening. If children are being abducted or youths are being abducted, you need to stand and say the abduction that is being done here needs to stop. The corrupt government that is in here, they need to change their ways. And you don't need to condemn a politician simply because you don't support him. A pastor needs to be neutral. These things that I see politicians coming to pulpit, saying some things that political things, very evil things on the pulpit, it does not need to be like that. A pulpit is somewhere a politician don't need to step, by the way, because all politicians are evil. That's per me. That's what I'm trying to say. But I've seen this pastor, and I was thinking that if all men of God could be like this, if all pastors could be like this, at least we could have maybe a little bit of change. Because Ibrahim Traore is doing great job in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore is changing lives. And he has got a lot of tension and a lot of support across Africa. And a lot of political leaders, they don't want to mention him because of the fears, because Ibrahim Traore is anti-Western leader. So they have these fears of sanctions from the Western countries because they get help from them. So they cannot support him. And pastors, this is where you need to come in. You need to call out your government to be or to follow example of this other leader. Now, you don't want to support Ibrahim Traore. You are saying he's bad. And yet, in his country, he has built a company, tomato company, that will feed a lot of youths, will give jobs to a lot of people that will serve the community. You are saying Ibrahim Traore is bad, and he has given machineries, technology to small-scale farmers in the village, tractors, water pumps in the village for them to do farming. Now, you are saying Ibrahim Traore is bad, and he is calling up for unity. He has a pan-Africanist spirit, calling out for African in diaspora to come together, to join hands so that to take the country forward. You are saying Ibrahim Traore is bad, and yet he is calling out neocolonialism. He wants the neocolonialism to end. He wants a country to depend on its resources. He wants to end exploitation in his country. Then you are back there saying Ibrahim Traore is bad, and yet you are corrupt. Your children are starving. There is no water in your country. There is illegal mining in your country. Everything is scattered. And yet you are out here complaining, saying the coup that's happening in Burkina Faso, that happened in Burkina Faso, is not good, it's not democracy. What is democracy if that democracy cannot feed me? I think this democracy is here just to, to fool us and to close our eyes that we don't see anything that's going on. But what is democracy in a country where youths are being abducted every day? What is democracy in a country where children does not go to school because of insecurity, because we lack infrastructure? What is democracy where children mortality rate is high because of starvation and lack of water? What is democracy? The coup that happened in Burkina Faso, Mali, or Niger, we are not supporting coups because when coups comes, maybe there will be shed of blood. But there is something we call a revolution. A revolution is where we are changing the story of a country. And Ibrahim Traore is changing the story of a country. Story of Burkina Faso is being changed. That is a revolution. A coup d'etat is where a coup happened, and then the atrocities that happened in the last governments will continue happening and either will go worse. But this is revolution. And revolution is what we need in these African countries. Revolution is where we revolt from the evil and start doing right. Revolution is where we revolt from the corruption and start going on the right direction. And pastors and preachers need to support revolution. When Gen Zs of Kenya were going on the streets in peaceful demonstration, I think pastors of Kenya could come out and support the demonstration because it was a revolution. But when pastors come out and support the government that is abducting and killing the youths, that you are not a pastor. I think all those pastors that have come out and say, hey, William Ruto is good. You do this. Those are not pastors because you know what's happening. You know very well that the government is not doing great. Now, this is a Ghanaian pastor from Ghana, okay? And a pastor from Ghana has seen that this young man, at his young age, is trying to do something to change the face of Africa. This young man is trying to liberate Africa. And if you will not talk about it, let the congregation know that our government is not doing good, but there is a government that we need to pray that our government should follow the path, even if it's not good, but at least it is doing, It is changing. So I started by saying that Christianity and politics go hand in hand. In a country where it's actively political, we found a lot of churches too. A country like Nigeria, there's a lot of churches. A country like Kenya, a lot of churches. And these politicians use these churches to sell their agenda and to do their evil. Because when these politicians do evils, kill people, do corruption, at the end, in the Sunday service, he comes there with money, and then pastor of your church will come, so he'll stand there, clap hands for him, and the congregation, because they believe in this pastor, they don't believe in God, they're gonna say, if our pastor is supporting this guy, then this guy is good. And then this guy will reign for 5 years and another 5 years, because this pastor stood here and said this man is good. And so it is something that it will cause a lot of problems to the community, because the community suffer because our pastor said this man will come and change the community, will change everything. Just give him humble time. He's a man chosen by God. Sometimes we use God bad, that this man, the leadership is being given by God. Now, and then 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, still waiting for this leader who was chosen by God to deliver. Then another president, another politician will come and vie for the seat, and then that pastor, given these brown envelopes, then will come and say, whoever will be chosen by God. And then we accept as Christians, chosen by God. And then he does what he does. Pastor will be clapping hands for him every day he comes to church. And the congregation, because most of them, they don't love God, they love this pastor, they'll keep on, just revolving in the same circle of impunity, in the same circle of corruption, in the same circle of imperialism, in the same circle of neocolonization, because this pastor did not condemn the evil that's happening here. This pastor did not criticize the government when it was doing something bad. Instead, he was supporting it. And the pastor will stand and say, don't question the man who is chosen by God to lead us. This president is being chosen by God, so you don't have to question him and to say bad things on him. And that's how Africa, we live in poverty. Let me tell you something. A lot of people will not agree with me, but a lot of African countries that are in deep poverty, these countries, we have more Christian and most churches. For example, Congo. Congo is the most richest country in Africa. Congo has a lot of churches. In fact, a lot of these the bands, the music church bands, they come from Congo. These guys praise the Lord. They praise God with everything. When they sing to the God, it's awesome. But Congo has never stopped fighting. Nigeria is where a lot of preachers come from. Nigeria, a lot of churches everywhere. And like a friend from Nigeria told me, after every 50 meters you get a church. What's happening in Nigeria? Nigeria, it is in a deep shit of economy because of the governance. Kenya, after every 50 meters you get a church. Just opposite State House, there is a church. There's Catholic there. But what's happening in the country? Now, the president of Kenya, the president of Nigeria, these are the two most corrupt presidents we have. But simply because the preachers in this church, they teach us what they were told to teach us. Now, we will not revolt. When Gen Zs went to the road saying no to William Ruto and everything, some pastors were there and saying, telling the parents, teach your children, tell them to be patient, not to go, and give this government time, because it is chosen by God. Let me say this: you cannot be chosen by God and be doing something that is not godly. How was you chosen by God and yet you are doing something that's ungodly? Now, if you are chosen by God, that means you're doing godly things. Let your children in your country have peace. They don't starve. Don't steal money to build infrastructure. Don't kill the children or youths of your country. just do godly things if indeed you are chosen by God. And the people who are chosen by God, we know them by their actions. But this is where a lot of people condemn Christianity, saying that Christianity is alignment by evil. They support the evil that's happening in politics. They supported slavery that happened. They supported colonialism that happened. They supported segregation. And they are using scriptures. And one of them, I saw when they use this scripture called Genesis 9, 20, 27, saying that Ham was cast, and Ham is now the black people came from Ham, and now they are using that scriptures to justify atrocities that they are doing. Now, that I'm going so deep. Just to finish this video, I'm saying this: preachers or churches, most of them or some of them, are the one who are making a country going in a deep economic crisis, are ones that are making countries or the people of the countries to suffer. Just see these countries that have economic growth. The countries, let's take example, the white man's countries, USA, Britain, China. These countries are not, you won't find a lot of these things we call Christianity. Some of them, even they don't know about it. For example, China, they have their own way of worshiping, and it is totally different. But simply because you will come here and tell me that you need to relax as a Christian, relax, because these earthly things is not ours. We have some things. Now come here, let us fast for 40 days in this forest, and you're gonna meet your God, and then you go and die. Then you will not come back and tell us if you met that God or if you didn't meet that God. So there is some things that are happening from the church and politics. There is a combination. When these two things are mixed, the country will go into deeper problem. Church and politics don't need to mix. Church need to call out the leadership. They don't need to be together. They don't need to mix. This is two things different. It is dark and light. Church is where we need to see light. And politics is dark. Politics is total darkness. So I just gave example the countries that are having a lot of problems in Africa. Those countries have a lot of churches and a lot of preachers come from those churches, but they don't do what God told them to do. I don't know what really happens. I think one day I'll find a pastor, or if you are a pastor, you are watching this video, tell me what really happens to these countries that it is more religious. For example, Congo is more religious. I think Muslims in Congo are very few. But what really happens in these countries where we have people who are more religious, also in a Christian religion? What is wrong with the country? Because if you find a country that are Muslim countries, like Asian countries, we come from Africa and go to Asian countries to work. We go to Saudi Arabia to work. These guys are Muslim. They are thriving. They are doing well, and we are the people who are going to work for them. I don't know. Tell me what you think on the comment section about that. What really do happen between these countries? And I don't know. But this Ghanaian pastor said something that really is deep, and that I think a lot of pastors must come out and comment on this, because if a leader is doing good, you need to say he is doing good, and you need to condemn those who are not doing good. You need to put them on the scale and say, this my country, the leader is doing like this, but a leader need to do like this. And I wish the preachers in Kenya, they need to come out and say, leaders need to do that like this. Now, if you have wronged someone, you need to be presented in court according to law, not to be abducted and maybe killed. So it's different. Tell me what you think on the comment section about this video. Until next episode, and peace be with you.